Hi, were you having a great day? I'm about to change that. George, this is one of the worst stories I've ever done, but I've covered it on the channel, and I've covered it on the channel a little bit, and it's arrived at its conclusion. So I do have to report on the conclusion. I'm afraid. Georgia couple convicted of sexually abusing their adopted boys in House of Horrors sentenced to 100 years in prison. The investigation dates back to 2022 when police received a tip that suspected homemade child sexual abuse material. And there's the two guys there, the gay couple that adopted boys, specifically boys, through an agency. And I'm going to do what I usually do. If they start going into too much detail, I'm just skipping it. A Georgia couple will spend the rest of their lives in prison after sexually abusing two young boys they adopted. William and Zachary Zulock of Walton County were sentenced to 100 years in prison without parole on Thursday after they both pled guilty to several charges related to sexually assaulting their adopted children. Those involved with the investigation and prosecution of this case will never forget what they had to see and hear in this case. Neither will I. A lot of these articles got a little bit too graphic, and it wasn't fun. District Attorney Randy McGinley said in a statement, "These two defendants truly created a house of horrors and put their extremely dark desires above everything and everyone else. However, the depth of the defendants' depravity, which is as deep as it gets, is not greater than the resolve of those that fought for justice and the strength of the victims in this case," he added. The resolve I have seen from these two young victims over the last 2 years is truly inspiring. Good on them. Good on those two wee boys because basically they had to stand up in court and talk about all the stuff that they had been through. And they did it. And they did. By the way, well done. Genuinely well done. That must have been. They're kids, so that must have been fucking hard. But they went up there and they did it. Well done. The investigation began in July 2022 when police received a tip from the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children about suspected homemade child sexual abuse material, McGinley said in his statement. This led investigators to Hunter Lawless, a man who admitted to viewing this material and claiming he received it from Zachary, according to McGinley. Lawless was sentenced to 20 years, with the first 12 to be served in prison after pleading guilty to charges related to the material. He also cooperated with police as they investigated the Zulocks. After the officers then searched the Zulocks' residence, and the couple admitted to sexually abusing their two boys, according to McGinley. In their search, police seized indoor surveillance cameras and their cell phones. This led them to discover footage of the Zulocks abusing the children. The couple sent text messages and made posts about the abuse. Louis Vicaro Sanchez was one of the people receiving messages from Zachary about the abuse, McGinley said. He later pleaded guilty to pandering for a person under 18. This resolution will help the victims continue their process of healing, McGinley said. William and Zachary Zulock will now spend 100 years in prison without parole. Now, is it each or did they get 50 years each? I have no idea. This all but guarantees that the victims will not have to worry as they grow older about their abusers being free. William pleaded guilty to 6 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated child molestation, 2 counts of incest, and 2 counts of sexual exploitation of children. Zachary pleaded guilty to 2 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated child molestation, 2 counts of sodomy, 3 counts of sexual exploitation of children, and 2 counts of pandering for a person under 18. He pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of incest, but a judge found him guilty on those charges after a brief bench trial earlier this year. And here we are at the end of the article, and I'm very happy it didn't go into detail. I would advise to anyone, people probably might want to look this up, just don't. Just don't go into the detail, it's horrendous. It reminded me of, I've spoken about it a number of times now, my mum and dad used to do foster care, and we would get a bunch of children. A lot of the positions were temporary. We would sometimes have respite, which is where a child is only with us for a short amount of time, or basically the child has just been taken from their family, and then they would get put with us just on a temporary basis until something more permanent was found. And obviously, because we're around the kids and we're going to be working with them, we have to read the file. And I think I read about 4 before I just stopped. Because it's just... I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that. Hey, do you like the PlayStation? Yeah, let's play games. Played games with them all day. And I mean, that's all they want. That's all they need. I don't need to know. I don't need to know. Right? I swear to God. If I ever rise to power... Because, yeah, I read the files. I remember the names in the files as well. That's one thing I remember. And also, I've spoke about this as well, but basically, a girl that we were looking after, no names, I'm not going to say any names. Lovely girl, really nice and sweet girl, very cheeky. She's very cheeky, which is why I liked her. Basically, she ended up confessing to my mum and dad about something that happened to her when she was younger. It ended up going to trial, and just in December there, the guy gets sentenced to 13 years. And I posted his name and his picture publicly on Twitter. And I told everyone what part of the prison he was being kept in to inform people. To inform people. But yeah, this is just a disgusting case, and I don't want to talk anymore. Let's end the video here.